Spoilers.
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 Spoilers. Spoilers. Spoilers. I like that word.
I thought you might.
Hello everyone, firstly, we're back! And secondly, welcome to another edition of Did You Know? Now, if you're someone who's all up to date on the expanded media, today's Did You Know will probably be something that you did already know. But for those of you who don't follow all of the expanded media, or may have only seen bits and pieces of it, hopefully this will fill in some narrative gaps for you. Now, for many years, a lot of people assumed two things. Firstly, that Roger Delgado's master was the same decayed one seen in The Deadly Assassin, and his crispy appearance was the result of him having run out of regenerations. And second, that Peter Pratt and Jeffrey Beaver's incarnations of the Master are two different incarnations. Well, both of these assumptions are wrong and have been proved thusly by the expanded media. Now, one account in the form of Legacy of the Daleks presents the idea that Susan caused the Master, still in the Delgado incarnation, to become disfigured through use of his own tissue compression eliminator against him before he fled to Tursurus, where he was found by Chancellor Goth. However, like John Peel's other book, War of the Daleks, Legacy contains several plot points which contradict other known information, such as the Master being unaware of Susan's Gallifreyan heritage, although at the time it was the only account of what happened to Delgado's Master. Until now. Because you see, through a combination of comics and Big Finish, we are presented with a much more visual and, personally I think, exciting narrative. The 12th Doctor comic, Doorway to Hell, features the 12th Doctor, obviously, facing off against Delgado's Master. And the conclusion of the story features the Master inside his TARDIS dying after losing the battle, but subsequently regenerating into a new incarnation. So that proves that Delgado was in fact the 12th Master and subsequently regenerates into his 13th incarnation, who would later become decayed. But how did that happen? Well, the answer to that comes in the form of Big Finish's The Two Masters, the final part in their Master trilogy of stories. After regenerating, the 13th Master, played by Jeffrey Beavers, lands on a Time Lord base on Tursurus to infiltrate their systems, where at the conclusion of the story, he is found by Chancellor Goth. Unbeknownst to him, however, his future self in his McQueen incarnation is already there, and subsequently burnt him, not only leaving him a fraction above death, but also the reason for his decayed and crispy state.
It was never going to be the TCE, I knew that. That's not how it happened the first time. I remember I was burnt to a crisp.
What say you?
Oh, don't worry. You'll work it out. Eventually. Now, let's see. How does this thing work?
Now, I don't want to spoil the plot too much for those who haven't listened to it yet, but I will say the reason for the older Master not recognising his younger self is explained as part of the plot and actually forms a very large part of it. So I thoroughly recommend giving the stories a listen. So now we know that Delgado and Beavers are two separate incarnations and how the latter became crispy. But what about Pratt? Well, as previously mentioned in another video, at the end of The Deadly Assassin, the 4th Doctor theorises that the Master may have absorbed some energy from the Eye of Harmony through the Sash of Rassilon to renew himself, as was his plan.
There was a good deal of power coming out of that monolith, and the sash would have helped him to convert it.
I was suggesting he survived.
I hope not, Spandrel.
This was later hinted at during the events of Trail of the White Worm, in which the 4th Doctor meets the Master for the first time after the events of The Deadly Assassin, and notes how he looks less putrescent.
You become less and less amusing with age, Doctor. The oldest clown in the circus.
Hello, Master. You're looking well. Putrescence has cleared up a treat. What's the secret?
Which in turn proves that Pratt and Beavers are indeed intended to be the same incarnation. So there we have it. Now do we not only know the circumstances behind Delgado's regeneration into his next incarnation, but also the next incarnation's reasons for being all crispy. Now, I mentioned Legacy of the Daleks at the beginning, so I will say it is possible to reconcile these events somewhat with that novel, but not entirely. But if it's a choice between Delgado's Master regenerating after being killed by Susan, or battling the 12th Doctor, regenerating into his next incarnation, which then gets caught up with his future self, well, I know which one sounds more exciting to me. And for those interested in the Master and exactly how many incarnations he's had, then please do check the description or the pinned comment below for my trilogy of videos of my thoughts of going through his incarnations and cycles. But that brings to a close another video. It's great to be back, but as always, I hope you all enjoy this video. Like, subscribe, share, it really helps me out a lot, and be sure to check out the description below for a link to my Patreon. I'm doing my very first figure animation of Mission to the Unknown, and you can get involved. There is exclusive content and rewards for those who do so, and funding my Patreon in any way gets your name at the end of my videos. I salute you all, and I will see you with another video very soon.